Welcome everybody to Jen Talks. Today I am going to teach you a round of tapping, and the tapping I'm teaching is positive EFT. What we mean by EFT is emotional freedom technique. So it's a technique to free emotions or to allow the flow of emotions freely in the body. And there is a difference between classic EFT and positive EFT. So I'm going to teach positive EFT. So if my tapping round looks slightly different than something you've seen online before, that's because it is the new, and I would, in my opinion, say somewhat improved version of tapping. And it's very simple, very effective, and it's scientifically proven to work. And it's also used in sports. The US military funded for their returning soldiers to prevent PTSD. And I am creating this video specifically today, or I suppose with the students of exams coming up in mind. So if there's anybody out there starting their juniors, I think this isn't something I need right now. In the future, if you hit any bumps in the road, tapping is an amazing tool. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the theory because you can Google that. You can find out the science behind it yourself. I'd really like to just give you a demonstration of how to use it and let you see for yourself. So this is part one of a part two series. So today I'm going to teach you around the tapping, and I'm going to tap on emotions that we want to tap in. And then next week, because we're going to be still in the middle of exam season, I'm going to follow up with an additional support video. So if you've got anything that you need to I suppose, get rid of and you'd like something else instead, this is the tool for you. So here's what's going to happen. We are going to tap in emotions that we want. So you've often heard me say it's as easy to think about what it is that you want as it is what you don't want. So we're going to talk to what is known as our energy body, and our energy body travels around our internal body using our meridian channels, and also our energy body stretches 8 feet wide. So, if you're like me and you're about 5 foot, nothing really, you're kind of me and half of me again lying down on the ground. That's how far our energy body stretches. In our energy body is all of our emotions that travel around our body, because remember, emotions are energy in motion. So we're going to use acupressure points to tap on to release blockages that happen in the energy body. And we want to activate certain emotions. So if you're dealing with stress and anxiety, the first thing we want to do is maybe just get rid of that. And we don't say like no stress, no anxiety. We stay away from the words and we think about what would we like instead. And that word is unique to you, because what you think might be the opposite of stress could be different than what I think. So I'm going to just use the word calm. And that's what we're going to tap in today. And then we're going to tap in another emotion that we'd like as well as calm. So maybe you might like confidence, maybe you might want happiness, maybe you might want joy. So we're going to do a round of tapping on an emotion. Feel free to post one in the comments if you like. I can use that as the tapping demonstration today. I'm going to start with the word calm. Now, if you're doing this at home and you're feeling a little bit stressed, we do have known what's called a SU scale, but you can Google that, and SU stands for Subject Unit of Experience. So you look at the scale goes from -10 to +10. On 0 on the scale, 0 is realistically where you're just calm, you're contented, you're not stressed, you're not necessarily happy. And ideally what we want to do is we want to tap in some calm till we get to a 0 point. And then from 0, then we want to go up the scale into the happiness area. And that's where we want to put in the emotions that we would like instead of feeling stressed out. Now, I'm focusing on emotions today. We can also focus on, cognitive ability. What we mean by that is like how your brain works, and more importantly, if you're doing exams, maybe memory, maybe concentration, maybe focus. So whatever it is that you want going on for you at the moment, that's what you're going to tap in. So I'm going to start with calm. Now, I'm only going to do one round because I'm going to demonstrate the tapping points to you. But ideally, what we would say is we always do 3 rounds of everything. So if you want to tap in calm, you want to really tap in 3 rounds of it. And ideally, what you're going to do is you want to look at the SU scale, see where you're at, and notice if the number changes after you have tapped. So for example, if I was looking at the SU scale and I was a -3, and I did my tapping for 3 rounds, I might look at it then and say, have I moved closer to 0, or have I even moved up the other side of the scale, which is the positive side of the scale? And that's one of the major differences of the classic EFT versus positive EFT. Classic is really about bringing you to zero, where we're positive, we say, why stop at zero? Why not move all the way up the scale to number 10, which is absolute cartwheels, and like could not be happier. So we're going to start with the word calm, and I'm going to demonstrate the round. And then after that, then I'm going to pick an emotion that you may like to tap in instead. And I'm going to do 3 rounds of that. And I'm going to show you how we might start a word like, say, confidence. And then we might say on the second round, we might tap in more confidence. And in the third round, you might tap in even more confidence. That's what we're going to do today. So let's get started. First of all, with positive EFT, what we do is we activate the energy body by letting it know we're about to tap. So we put our hands connecting in with our heart. Now, I like to listen for my heartbeat because it kind of just grounds me in the moment, brings me into the present moment. But don't get too caught up in that. It's just my way of connecting in. So you're putting your hands into your heart and you take a nice deep breath in. And as you know, the nose is for breathing, the mouth is for eating. So into the nose if possible. And as you breathe out and you allow that air to leave your body, you say the word that you're tapping on. So in this case, we're saying the word calm. Okay, so that's our very first point. And then we repeat that 2 more times. So the first deep breath in and word out happens 3 times in total. So again, calm. And again, calm. And then we start the actual tapping. So the tapping is like a rhythmic technique. So it's really like a limp wrist. It's not so much like we have to get too focused on the technique of it. The main thing is it's not too hard, and it's, you can feel it. It's not that you're going to be so gentle that you won't notice it. People get really caught up on what finger it should be, how many fingers it should be. Should it be the full hand? Anything goes, because really what we're doing is accessing the acupressure point where the meridian channels meet. So our very first tapping point on the body is the top of the head. And that is a very important point. So again, you can use one finger, you can use all your fingers, you can even put your hand flat, you're just accessing that point. And again, if you're really feeling stress and anxiety, it's a good idea to continue the deep breath, at least for the first round. So again, calm. So that's our first point in the tapping. Okay. The second point then is the middle of the forehead, often known as the third eye. So we're just again tapping, and we're just breathing in and releasing and saying the word calm. Third point then is the inside of the brow, just where your eyebrow finishes, just before it really starts into the middle of your brow. So just the end of your brow. Again, release and out. Next point is the outside of the eye, kind of the eye socket. Breathing in and out. Calm. Under the eye. Again, you can see sometimes I'm tapping with one finger, sometimes I'm tapping with them all. There's no science to how many times I tap. It's just go with what you feel. So breathing in. Calm. Next point is under the nose, or tapping under the nose. Probably see that better that way. Okay, again. Calm. Under the mouth. So kind of like that little ridge that is just above your chin, between your chip and your chin and your lip, between your chin and your lip, a little tap. Calm. And then anywhere you like on your collarbone, just anywhere along that region there, tapping on your collarbone. Calm. Now we're going to start on the hands. So what we're doing is we're really tapping on the tips of our fingers, kind of where the nail attaches to your fingers. So we start with the thumb. I just find it easier to tap with one finger at this point. So again, calm. Forefinger, calm. Middle finger, calm. Ring finger, calm. Little finger, calm. And then the last point that we tap on is actually what we call our karate chop. So see, it's where your little finger continues. It's your karate chop. So it could be one finger, all your fingers, all your hand, whatever you like, karate chop. And then we just connect back into heart center to let our body know that round is finished. Calm. So that's our round. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue into a round, and I'm going to tap in the word confidence. And then I'm going to continue into more confidence and even more confidence. But I'm just going to tap, and I'm going to allow you to watch as opposed to calling out each of the points, because it'll be easier for you to follow when you're watching this at home. Okay, so again, confidence, confidence, Confidence. And it's not so much deep breathing for this one. You can just do this nice and fast. So confidence, 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 confidence. More confidence, more confidence, much more confidence, so much more confidence, more confidence, so much more confidence, more confidence, much more confidence, confidence, more confidence, much more confidence, so much more confidence, much more confidence, more confidence, more confidence. And the last round, much more confidence, all the confidence in the world, so much confidence, more confidence, much more confidence, millions of confidence, so much confidence, all the confidence in the world, more confidence, much more confidence, much more confidence, much more confidence, so much more confidence, all the confidence in the world, more confidence. So that's our full round. We did 3 rounds on the word confidence. I introduced you to the first round for calm. Ideally, we want to really be doing 3 rounds of that. And then we're moving into our new emotion that we would like instead. And just for anybody watching this that's thinking, how am I going to be sitting in, doing my leaving cert or my junior cert, tapping my head and tapping my forehead? The beauty of tapping is that once the body learns the full process, the full stage of it, the full round, you can actually abbreviate it to just the hand. And what we will do is often we can either do it with the other hand, or even more simple, you can actually just tap your fingers together. So if you were in an exam and you're feeling a little bit nervous, you'd say to yourself, okay, what's the opposite of nervous? Is it peace? Is it calm? Is it safe? And you just say that word to yourself as you tap. And tap in the emotion and activate the emotion. And you'll notice the feeling actually soothes the central nervous system and allows you to calm down, takes you out of fight and flight into rest and digest, and allows the learning centers to open when we start to feel calmer. So I hope that was helpful for you today. I know that I will be back next week. I don't normally do a video for this long because I know it just takes too long for people to download. And like I said, this video will be on my YouTube channel, which is called Jenny Cruz, as I spell my name. So it should be easy for you to find. If you watch this video today and you think that it might help somebody, that it could be suffering from a little bit of stress or anxiety, it doesn't have to be to do with exams. It can be for anything. It can be to do with your bills, to do with your relationship, to do with your housing situation. What we want to do is tap to relieve stress and anxiety. So I hope this talk was helpful for you today. And I really look forward to seeing you back here next week at 2:00 on a Tuesday for Jen Talks. And thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate all of the interaction and the feedback. Thanks, guys. And I'll speak to you all very soon.